all devotee. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Vyasam Tata Jayam Udiret Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Hare Krishna. Today we continuing Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2nd, chapter 3rd, pure devotional service, shloka kramanka 24 and 25. Tat ashmasaram hrudayam bata idam
Tad ashmasaram hrudayam bata idam
yat gruhyamane hari namadehi
yad gruhyamanehi harinamadeyi
na vikriyet atha yada vikara
na vikriyet atha yada vikara
netre jalam gatra ruheshu harsha
netre jalam gatharuhe shvarsha
atha avidheya angamana anukulam
atha abhideya angamano anukulam
प्रभाष से भागवत प्रधान
प्रभाषसे भागवत प्रदान
यदा आह वैयासकी आत्मविद्या
यथा आहवैया सखियात्मविद्या
विशारद नृपतिम साधु पृष्ठ
विशारद नृपतिं साधु पृष्ठ
तत् अश्मसारं हृदयं बत इदं
तत् अश्मसारं हृदयं बत इदम्
यद् गृह्यमाणे हरिनामधेयैः
यत् गृह्यमाणैः हरिनामधेयैः
न विक्रियेत यदा विकारः
न विक्रियेत अथ यदा विकारः
नेत्रे जलं गात्र रुहेषु हर्षः
नेत्रे जलं गात्ररुहेष्वर्ष
अथ अविधेयी अंगमनः अनुकूलम्
अथ अभिधेयैः अङ्गमनः अनुकूलम्
प्रभाषसे भागवत प्रधानः
प्रभाषसे भागवत प्रधानः
यदा आह वैयासकी आत्मविद्या
यदा आहवैयासकी आत्मविद्या
विशारद नृपतिं साधु पृष्ठः
विशारदः नृपतिं साधु पृष्टः
तत् अश्मसारं हृदयं बत इदं यत् गृह्यमाणैः हरिनामधेयैः न विक्रेयताथ यदा विकार नेत्रे जलं गात्ररुहेषु हर्षः अथ अभिधेयी अंगमनः अनुकूलं प्रभाषसे भागवत प्रधानः यदा आह वैयासकी आत्मविद्या विशारद नृपतिं साधु पृष्ठ. हरे
तत्
कृष्णा.
अश्मसारं हृदयं बतायितं यद् गृह्यमाणैः हरिनामधेयैः न विक्रियेत अथ यदा विकारः नेत्रे जलं गात्ररुहेषु हर्ष अथ अभिधेयाङ्गमनानुकूलम् प्रभाषसे भागवत प्रधानः यद् आह वैयासकी आत्मविद्याः विशारदाः नृपतिं साधु पृष्ठ.
Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Certainly, that heart is still framed, which, in spite of one's chanting the holy name of the Lord with concentration, does not change when ecstasy takes place. Tears fill the eyes and the hair stands on end. O Sūta Gosvāmī, your words are pleasing to our minds. Please therefore explain this to us as it was spoken by the great devotee Śukadeva Gosvāmī, who is very expert in transcendental knowledge and who spoke to Mahārāja Parīkṣit upon being asked. Purport. We should note with profit that in the first three chapters of the second canto, a gradually process of development of devotional service is being presented. In the first chapter, the first step in devotional service for God consciousness by the process of hearing and chanting has been stressed, and a gross conception of the personality of Godhead in his universal form for the beginners is recommended. By such a gross conception of God through the material manifestations of his energy, one is enabled to spiritualize the mind and the senses and gradually concentrate the mind upon Lord Vishnu, the Supreme, who is present as the Supersoul in every heart and everywhere, in every atom of the material universe. The system of pañca-upāsanā, recommending five mental attitudes for the common man, is also enacted for this purpose, namely gradual development, worship of the superior that may be in the form of fire, electricity, sun, mass of living being, Lord Shiva, and at last the impersonal supersoul, physical representation of Lord Vishnu. They are all nicely described in second chapter. But in the third chapter, further development is prescribed after one has actually reached the stage of Vishnu worship or pure devotional service, and the nature stage of Vishnu worship is suggested here in relation to the change of heart. The whole process of spiritual culture is aimed at changing the heart of living being in the matter of his eternal relation with the Supreme Lord as subordinate servant, which is his eternal constitutional position. So, with the progress of devotional service, the reaction of change in the heart is exhibited by gradual detachment from the sense of material enjoyment, by a false sense of lording it over the world, and it increase in the attitude of rendering loving service to the Lord. Vidhi bhakti or regulated devotional service by the limbs of the body, namely eyes, the ears, the nose, the hands, and the legs. As already explained here in before, is now stressed herein in relation to the mind, which is the impetus for all activities of the limbs of the body. It is expected by all means that by discharging regulated devotional service, one must manifest the change of heart. If there is no such change, the heart must be considered still frame, for it is not melted even when there is chanting of the holy name of the word of the Lord. We must always remember that hearing and chanting are the basic principles of discharging devotional duties, and if they are properly performed, there will follow the reactional ecstasy with sign of tears in the eyes and standing of the hairs on the body. These are natural consequences and are the preliminary symptoms of the bhav stage, which occurs before one reaches the perfectional stage of prema, love of Godhead. If the reaction does not take place, even after continuous hearing and chanting of the holy name of the Lord, it may be considered to be due to offenses only. That is the opinion of Sandarbha in the beginning of chanting of the holy name of the Lord. If the devotee has not been the 10 kinds of offenses at the feet of the holy name, certainly the reaction of feelings of separation will not be visible by tears in the eyes and standing of the hair on end. The bhav stage is manifested by 8 transcendental symptoms, namely inertness, perspiration, standing of hairs on end, failing in the eyes, trembling, paleness of the body, tears in the eyes, and finally trance. The nectar of devotion is a summary study of Srila-Rūpa Gosvāmī. Bhakti Rasamrut Sindhu explain those symptoms and vividly describe other transcendental development, both in study and accelerating manifestation. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has very critically discussed all these bhava displays in connection with some unscrupulous neophytes imitating the above symptoms for cheap appreciation. Not only Vishwanath Chakravarti but also Srila Rupa Goswami treated them very critically. Sometimes all the above 8 symptoms of ecstasy are imitated by the mundane devotees, Prakrita Sahajiya, but the pseudo symptoms are at once detected when one sees the pseudo devotee addicted to so many forbidden things, even though decorated with the signs of a devotee, a person addicted to smoking, drinking, or illegitimate sex with women cannot have all the above mentioned ecstatic symptoms, but it is seen that sometimes these symptoms are willfully imitated, and for this reason, Srila Viṣṇu Chakravarti accuses the imitators of being stone-hearted men. They are sometimes even affected by the reflection of such transcendental symptoms, yet if they still do not give up the forbidden habits, then they are hopeless cases for transcendental realization. When Lord Chaitanya met Srila Ramananda Rai of Kaur on the bank of the Godavari, the Lord developed all these symptoms, but because of the presence of some non-devotee Brahmanas who were attendants of the Rai, the Lord suppressed these symptoms. So sometimes they are not visible even in the body of the first class devotee of, for certain circumstantial reasons. And therefore, real study bhav is definitely displayed in the matter of cessation of material desire. Kshanti, utilization of every moment in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Avyartha kalatvam, eagerness for glorifying the Lord constantly. Nama gane sada ruchi, attraction for living in the land of the Lord. Priti tad vasati sthale, complete detachment from material happiness. Virakti and pridelessness. Mana shunyata, uh, one who has developed all these transcendental qualities is really possessed of the bhav stage as distinguished from the stone-hearted imitator or mundane devotee. The whole process can be summarized as follows. The advanced devotee who chants the holy name of the Lord in a perfectly offenseless manner and is friendly to everyone can actually relish the transcendental taste of glorifying the Lord, and the result of such realization is reflected in the cessation of all material desires, etc. As mentioned above. The neophytes, due to their being in the lower stage of devotional service, are invariably envious, so much so that they invent their own ways and means of devotional regulations without following the acharyas. As such, even if they make a show of constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord, they cannot relish the transcendental taste of the holy name. Therefore, the show of tears in the eyes, trembling, perspiration, or unconsciousness, etc., is condemned. They can, however, get in touch with the pure devotee of the Lord and rectify their bad habits. Otherwise, they shall continue to be stone-hearted and unfit for any treatment. A complete progressive march on the return path home back to Godhead will depend on the instructions of the revealed scripture directed by a realized devotee. A knowledge explained by the previous Acharya like Śukadeva Gosvāmī and followed by the next like Śukadeva Gosvāmī is always powerful transcendental knowledge, and it is therefore penetrating and useful to all submissive students. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purpose of the second canto, third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Pure Devotional Service, the Change in Heart. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guroho Sri Tapada Kamalam Sri Guron Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitancha Namo Om Viṣṇu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhecha Krupa Sindhube Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna. Today we completing this chapter, third canto, second pure devotional service, shloka kramank. We try to understand shloka kramanka 24 and 25. Here they giving the another part of if we are not uh, mm, are not ecstasy takes place. Tears when tears fill the eyes and hair stand on end. If in spite of we chanting ecstatically and concentrating on the supreme personality of Godhead, that our heart is compared still framed. Our heart is still framed. Means Pashana Hruday. They describe about that. And here they giving the bhav stages. Some stages they are giving, 8 stages they are giving, and then again they giving about matter of cessation of material desires. Again, real study of bhav. They giving about the shanti, anartha kalatvam, नाम गाणे सदा रुचि प्रीति तद वसति स्थले विरक्ति मान मान शून्यता. All these points they describing in this shloka, and they give told that the whole process can be summarized uh, nicely. Prabhuji will tell us in nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, chapter 1 of the second canto introduced us to Śravaṇam Kirtanam as the start of devotional service, and it gave a gross description of Virāṭ-rūpa for the beginners. In chapter 2, we saw the pañca-upāsanā, gradual worship through natural elements, so that we realize Paramātmā. And in this current chapter, chapter 3, the focus has shifted to proper, mature Viṣṇu worship and the true test, which is change of heart. So the verse that we are seeing is highlighting that true bhakti must produce transformation, especially emotional and behavioral symptoms. So there has to be a gradual development. We hear, we chant, even beginners, they can do it and they can contemplate on the Virāṭ-rūpa. So this gross conception, it helps spiritualize the mind and senses. And then eventually deeper concentration of Krishna and Paramātmā, the Supersoul present in all beings and matter. The pañca-upāsanā paddhati, that is 5 types of worship, that is then recommended for gradual spiritual progress. And this will culminate in pure Viṣṇu worship, pure devotional service. So the essence of spiritual progress is change of heart. The goal of devotional practice is awakening our eternal relationship as servant of Krishna. So this includes 2 things. One is detachment from material enjoyment, and 2 is increasing affection and service attitude towards Krishna. So the Vidhi Bhakti, which we studied in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu series also, which is regulated service using body, mind and senses, is meant to trigger the change. But if the heart still remains unaffected by chanting, then metaphorically here in this verse, it is compared as steel framed, cold, unmoved, insensitive to spiritual reality. And most often, the cause is that we have done an offense. Otherwise, we'll see the signs of bhava. Then, if you're doing proper hearing, proper chanting, then ecstatic symptoms arise. Tears, hair standing on head. So these are all bhava stage symptoms. And then we have the prema stage, pure love of God. Mataji has already narrated the 8 symptoms of bhava. But if ecstasy does not arise, it can be due to two things. One, offenses to the holy name, especially failure to avoid the 10 nama prad, and second, offenses to the devotee. So, offenseless chanting is crucial for spiritual transformation. But we get a warning as well. Please do not imitate. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Śrīla Gosvāmī, the Prakrit Sahajiyas, that is, devotees, they imitate symptoms for show. They said, don't do it. It is condemned. It shows stone-hearted condition. Because true ecstasy cannot arise in persons attached to forbidden behaviors. Another aspect is ecstasy may arise, but it can also be suppressed. Example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He suppressed ecstatic symptoms in front of 20 devotees. Even advanced devotees may not visibly express ecstasy because of their humility or circumstances. So, bhav is more than physical science. It is defined by character, kshanti, that is tolerance, avyartha kalatvan, intense service, namagane sadaruchi, constant eagerness to chant, priti for dhama, desire to live in Lord's abode, virakti, detachment, and manashunyata, humility. So the real bhava stage is not emotional display alone. It is deep internal transformation. A real devotee exhibits no material desires, continuous devotional enthusiasm, and alliance with instructions of acharyas. While a neophyte, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Sukal Prabhuji, can you please mute yourself? Hare Krishna. Sukal Prabhuji, can you please mute yourself? Hare Krishna. A neophyte, however, may disobey Shastra, devise own methods, or display artificial symptoms. So the real progress is possible only by following the Shastras, serving pure devotee, and chanting regularly and purely. So, cleansing the heart is the core of all spiritual practice. Prabhupada emphasizes Cheto Darpana Marjanam, and that is to be achieved through chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Modern life is still framed due to our identification with body, and because we are forgetfulness of our relationship with Krishna and also death. Therefore, Prabhupada urges us for sincere offenseless chanting, strict adherence to sadhana and Guru's instructions, and avoiding the super speciality which generally people throw out like Bhagavad Saptah. Because we need to accept the reality of life and death. Birth comes, with each birth comes. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, if there is birth, there is death. And each passing day is a day closer to death. So, despite technological, material advancements, humanity neglects the real purpose of life, which is spiritual realization and liberation from cycle of birth and death. And that is where the role of offenseless chanting comes in. Only by chanting the holy name without offenses, we can experience the full benefits, including liberation from material suffering. The symptoms of perfection, tears, shivering, ecstasy, they'll come naturally if chanting is pure and free from offenses. And for that, what is needed is guidance. Guidance has a lot of importance. Progress in devotional life depends on following the instructions of realized devotees, revealed scriptures, and avoiding self invented practices. So, what this shloka is making us aware is the true devotee's path. Spiritual advancement is measured by the transformation of the heart, not by external displays. And a real sincere person can reach bhava and prema by avoiding offenses, chanting seriously, and accepting guidance from realized acharyas. Mere display or sentimentality without substance are detrimental. Real bhakti means melted heart, changed life, not merely external emotion. And for that, it is very important that we take up pure devotion as a positive engagement. Have full faith in whatever Prabhupada ji has said, what Guru Maharaj is saying. Serve the devotees, serve the deities, serve Guru, serve Krishna. Continue chanting as much as possible. The more we chant, the more we will become pure. And the more we become pure, the more we will have eagerness about Krishna. And the more we have eagerness about Krishna, we will become more sincere. More sincere, more eagerness, more sincerity. And a day will come when Radharani will see all of this and she will definitely recommend to Krishna that yes, Krishna, here is a living being who seems to be now completely uh, falling at your lotus feet and awaiting your loving care. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I welcome